Hello, storytelling around here. I want to talk about the culture war in the RPG culture. Elon Musk weighing in. That was cool because it just kind of gave us all something to talk about, and he kind of put it into pop culture even more. And obviously, we've all been fighting here on YouTube, and I've been I've been enjoying some. I started this a long time ago. I started this a few years back against WOTC and against what they're doing against. The woke agenda that's permeating Dungeons and Dragons and converting it, desecrating it, whatever you want to, I don't know, doing sacrilege upon it, and changing it to their woke agenda. I left them. I was a member of the Magic Castle here in Hollywood, and we did a whole thing against it. They were celebrating and taking the knee to the BLM riots. And some of us were pissed off, and we fought against it, and I got suspended for 6 months or whatever, but I just quit. I don't want to be there anymore. I mean, I had a great time there at the Magic Castle for a while, but man, I just I don't want to be somewhere like that. I don't want to be in Dungeons and Dragons anymore because of it's taken over by the same. It's all the same. They all believe in sexualizing the culture and separating us into these separating us into Greeks and non-Greeks and Jews and non-Jews, whereas in Christianity we say no, everyone's the same. Everyone's, we all are different with different cultures and different nations, but we're all the same under God as his children. But what evil wants to do is separate us out into our tribes and into our nations and into our skin colors and into our races, so that we mistrust each other and hate each other, and have vengeance and revenge upon each other and paganism upon each other. Christianity is like the church permeated that. It permeated it, and every time we plopped a church down, we spread forgiveness. Paganism is a cycle of vengeance. That's why you see all these people being nasty on there, and the first thing they want to do is curse you. This is a really good little analogy. I was at a bar here in Hollywood with my wife, and we were going to our little goth club, and we were talking to a young actress woman, and she comfortably said to us that she was living in an apartment, or there was a landlord, and the landlord was a jerk, and so she literally said to us she did a little ritual in the basement to curse him. Like, she said it in such a light, fun. Oh, I just I did a little ritual in the basement to curse him, and I was like, and she flitted on sort of these witchy pagany things, like very naturally in the conversation, and my wife and I are like. And then I finally said to her, I kept it light because I just didn't want to, I wasn't in an evangelistic mood, and we can, as a Christian evangelist, take a little break. I mean, I wasn't in a sinful mood. I was just in a, date night with my wife mood. But I said to her, maybe instead of cursing him, you could pray for him. That's the difference. The humanist, the secularist, all pagan. Believe in cursing and vengeance upon others, and we Christians believe in praying for you, that the best will come out of you. You will become better a person, and by a better person we mean compassionate, forgiving, not sexually perverse upon others, not sexually exploitive upon others, but having more of a caring family view of life. So the pagan culture is one of vengeance. And that's what they're in, separation and perversity, and so that's what they're after. That's the definition of evil, right? God defined evil with the Ten Commandments. So they're not going to honor the mother or the father. They're going to commit adultery. They're going to push for those things. And so I'm going to go over this with you, so that you understand that the woke culture is not It's not about reasoning with them. It's about getting the truth to them and seeing if they accept the truth. If there's a hint of them wanting to accept the truth, or if they're going to be pure evil. And if they're going to be pure evil, you just need to, as Christians, we do not go around killing. We do not go around cursing and hexing. We tell them the truth, and then we deal accordingly with rebuking them and not letting them be part of the culture that we are creating. We create this culture. This culture of Renaissance and the Age of Reason all came from Christianity. It did not come from paganism. Paganism is freaky deaky, slavery, oppression, slavery, of our mind, of our bodies, conquest. That's paganism. So I'm going to go through this and tell you the issues with Elon Musk bringing that up. I'm just saying these clickbait words. WOTC, the culture war. All of this is the culmination of what's going on, and it's been written 2,000 years ago to warn us about this. And I'm going to go through with you because you got to understand what's really going on. I love listening to you guys, but none of you ever bring up Christ or the church or the core reason of that evil. And you never say it's evil. Is it not? I mean, they're castrating children. They're castrating, permanently scarring children who grow up then destroyed by their surgical butchery. I just don't. And then I don't even know why I need to go there. They're murdering babies. They're murdering babies. I don't need to go beyond murdering babies. Every one of the people that is woke is fighting to murder babies. They want to kill babies. I mean, the Bible is replete with it. I think that's the right word. It's in the Old Testament. There's constant child sacrifice. There's the valley of the bones in Jeremiah. It is the valley of the bones. A valley of bones. Child sacrifice. We are erasing the extent of the butchery of paganism. We are erasing the extent of their horrific slavery. We are erasing the extent of their horrific child sacrifice and human sacrifice. We are erasing that so that we can have these gentrified fantasy role-playing games and be all happy-dappy. Paganism has taken a new turn. They have jumped over Christianity and its compassion by using all of the Christian motifs to hide their evil. Like so instead of having a valley of bones now, they're hiding it in the halls of hospitals and medical clinics and abortion mills. Same, well, even way more bones. It's not a valley anymore. It's a continent full of bones. 55, 60, 70 million now of babies. So, and then the perversity that's going on, and then now we know 600,000 children are child trafficked in the last few months here in America because of the pagans' control of the government. And we don't know where they all are. We don't, right? They're child trafficked. So what are they being used for? Where are they? They're being sexualized. Okay. This is a terrible video, but so many people are going to disregard all of this, what I'm saying. Ergo, they're the evil. How do you deal with them? Well, not violently. You deal with them by getting back to church and praying for them and creating a church culture everywhere, including the RPG culture. The RPG culture needs a church culture. You need a Christian culture in the RPG. That will make the evil go, and they will be on the back footing. Right now, they're on the march. They're forward footing. They're pushing their agenda. They're doing the LGBTQ agenda. They're doing all of this, the woke agenda in the RPG culture, because you and I are not bringing Christ into the forefront of our videos, of our games, of our RPG, the RPG. We're removing it to be, cowardly. So they are filling it with their pagan evil. So I'm begging you desperately in my little corner here of silence and being ignored that you need to bring Jesus Christ into the culture of the RPG culture. You need to bring the church. You need to be offensive to them. It's the only way. You trying to mealy mouth and work with and deal with. Here's a funny thing. I was literally thinking of like backing off a little and not being so contentious. And I don't want to be contentious, I don't. If you look at my YouTube channel from a few years ago, I was loving D&D and Star Wars and doing all these music videos and getting a ton of views, and very enjoyable and working it out. But I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I can't do it anymore. My soul is for the Lord, and I cannot do that anymore. I'm doing something else now, and I have to. Because I love the Lord. I don't want that. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to compromise. I don't want to because compromise is 60 million dead babies now. Our compromise and being nice to evil is resulted in abortion mills everywhere in the middle schools. In the middle schools, they have porn and abortion mills for the kids. I know because my daughter was there and she had access to both. And that's because you and I are going along to get along, and the first thing we remove is Jesus Christ. That's all they want is for you to remove Jesus Christ. They'll do the rest. They will do the rest. Okay. This is Romans 1:18. This is like my favorite. I don't even have a favorite verse. I have a favorite section. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. So the wrath of God is, this is my layman thing, but it's upon us because they don't care, right? The evil doesn't care about the torture and the suffering that they get, that we get, that everybody gets. They don't care. They're going to keep they're going to keep, putting nooses out. They don't care, right? They will continually to be that serpent, or that frog, or that scorpion on the frog when, the Aesop's fable or whatever, where the scorpion says he wants to cross the river and he asks the frog to take him, but the frog says, no, you'll sting me and paralyze me and we'll die in the river. And then the scorpion laughs at him. Why would I do that? I would die too. So the frog's okay. So so I'll compromise and go along to get along. And he takes the scorpion and swims him across the river. The scorpion stings him and the frog says, why'd you do that? Now I can't swim and we're going to both drown. And the scorpion says, I can't help myself. I'm a scorpion. Evil is evil. Evil is going to continually destroy themselves, the people around them, you and me, if they can. God has written that in their hearts. I'm a Calvinist, so I kind of believe that. I do believe that. Because I don't see any other reason. I don't see any other reason that a person would want to kill a baby unless it was that's their AI programming. Why would you want to kill a baby? Why would you want a baby in a mother's womb to be the most terrifying place? I don't see any reason or logic or even you being lied to as the reason you accept that. It's got to be that God has written some of us to be wicked and has written some of us to be saved and good. That's what I believe as a Calvinist. I don't think a person can be fooled into a valley of bones and saying I was just fooled into believing this was okay. I cannot believe that. So the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. Now, being revealed, I think, to us, because we're suffering too, because we're allowing this godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth. We're allowing them to. We're allowing them to suppress the truth of us, and my whole channel is about you can role play a Christian role playing game, and it's fun and hilarious. You can evangelize in it, try to convert people, save the village. Don't just save the village from the dragon. You save the village from their own worship of the dragon. That's the Christian version, because that's really what happened, in medieval history. The village, they all worshiped the dragon, or they murdered each other in a cycle of vengeance, gang warfare. And it wasn't until a church got planted that the gang warfare started, we can actually start forgiving each other. Can a man forgive another man for killing his son? No, right? It's a cycle of murder. Can a Christian forgive another Christian or man for killing a son? Yes. If it's very hard. It is incredibly hard. But that's exactly the true stories that have been going on with missionaries and Christians that converted tribes and stuff. And I'm going to release another video here soon about that. A man can forgive another man for killing his father. And both are now Christian, the white man and the tribal Amazonian man. And they became lifelong friends after their forgiveness. And it's an incredible story. And we Christians have so many stories like that about forgiveness and praying for the evil so that they'll become better. Now, I do want evil people to become better. And I do want us to find which ones are not really evil and get them out of the evil. But the evil ones, I don't want to torture them or kill them. I want them to subdue their evil and just live a peaceful life. That is the goal of churches too, is to suppress the evil of people in their nature and let them live at least a decent life until the end, and then go before heaven and pray for them in any way. That is the heart of the Christian religion. One thing I want to say, Christian nationalism, the separation of church and state, which really should be the separation of religion and state, is a Christian nationalist tenet. It is absolutely part of our thing, separation of church and state. It is not, however, a tenet of atheism or pagans or Islam. They absolutely believe that their religion should be in the government and forcing you to believe it. Absolutely, they believe that. So they don't believe in separation of church and state. So when atheists say, "Oh, they Christian nationalists and they don't believe in separation of church and state," separation of church and state is a Christian thing. Because Christians don't believe in, we are the only religion that believes we cannot force you to believe in our religion, in Jesus Christ. We're the only religion. Atheism doesn't believe that about their own. Islam does not believe that about them. Islam believes in forcing you. Atheism believes in forcing you with their gulags and their re-education camps. Hinduism, you're born into your stat, so you don't have a choice. Only in Christianity do we not force you to believe in Jesus Christ. The only religion. For what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. So this is God telling you and me that they know God exists, and that's plain to them, right? They know God exists. They hate God, and God being Jesus Christ, God and Holy Spirit, because God has made it plain to them. So we know they know, and yet we act like doofuses and cowards in front of people. We go along to get along, which is that's the problem. That's the real problem about this entire woke WOTC thing, is that we are going along to get along, and so evil is getting to do what it gets to do. We're not rebuking them, we're not confronting them, and we're not in the culture of the RPGs. For since the creation, and I'm talking about people, all of you that are, have the power of these conventions or RPG, games or whatever. Where are you? Where's the Christ in you? Where's the Jesus Christ in you? I'm talking. Jesus Christ shouldn't be a little side note or footnote. It should be right front and center. If it's not front and center, you have just welcomed in all this evil. You're not really fighting it. You're going along to get along, and then acting snide around it, but you're not actually confronting it. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from his workmanship, so that men are without excuse. So, in my creation tours, for homeschool kids, I bring up this stuff here. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen. Chemistry, the mathematics of atoms, the science of atoms, and chemistry and thermodynamics and all the laws of gravity, all of where these laws come from. The consistency of science and the nature is clearly seen. The DNA in us is clearly the genetic coding in all life. Remember, we have not ever created life. None. Every life that we have seen has come from life. So the 10,000 evil atheist scientists in those 10,000, the 100,000 scientists in those 10,000 labs across the world have not been able to create life, even though they're desperately trying to create life. They've only been able to Frankenstein cells, but they've never been able to actually create life. Why? I mean, if it's just done randomly in a bunch of things, why have they not been able to do it? If it's random, if it's randomly done in the soup of the lava and earth and stuff, why can't they do it? Why can't they create a life? And I'm not talking about DNA codes either. I'm talking about a completely new life, sentience, whatever. How come it's so complicated for them if it's randomly done somewhere? Why can't they just create life? Just shut the F up about your evolution and create life and prove that there's no God. Why can't you do it? I don't understand. There's a stupid little bacterias and proto things and well, we know what viruses are, but bacterias and things like that. Why can't you create life? Just create it. Shut the up. Just create life, for God's sake. so we can end this, so I don't have to believe in the Bible anymore. Just do it. It's a teeny little cell. Not even a cell. It can't be a cell. Can't be DNA. Can't be. It's got to be something completely different. Create it. And I'm talking. It's got to be so simple and random that it proves evolution is true. Why can't you just do it? You know, they can't do it. It's so pathetic. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from his workmanship, so that men are without excuse. They're without excuse. Y'all are without excuse. Evolution is a crock. Creation, 6,000 years-ish. The flood are all absolutely fact and true, and proved evidentially too. Diamonds take hours to make. Oil takes hours to make. They're lying about deep time. There is no deep time. And I use ice cream as my dating method. You can have a cone of ice cream out on the porch, and you can have one in the freezer, bought on the same day. And the scientist will use the cone in the freezer as their dating method, not the ice cream cone out on the porch, because they need they want that long time. Because that's their excuse. Deep time is the excuse of the atheist. It's their God. It's a God for them. Deep time is a God for them. You know, the gun is a dark God for them, so they want to get rid of the gun. Blah blah blah. They have their gods. Trust me. For although they knew God, they neither glorified God nor gave thanks to Him, but they became futile in their thinking, darkened in their foolish hearts. Well, so we're seeing that. We're seeing their futile thinking. They're constantly evolution theory. I'm just going to go through it in a little bit, but evolution theory is them constantly. It keeps evolving. That is not a theory. You cannot have a theory that keeps evolving. That theory fell apart a long time ago. They kept changing it. You can't do that. If a theory falls apart, done, end it. Come up with a new hypothesis. Right? They say things evolve slowly over millions of years. Then they have punctuated evolution. Things evolve quickly. They've theorized now. And then they have some things don't evolve at all. They remain the same. Stasis. Quickly, slowly, not at all. What kind of a theory is that? Same with climate change, right? Global cooling, global warming. Oh, any climate change now. That is not science. Science is about having a being able to make it, being able to falsify it, right? Or being able to disprove it. You got to have a yes and no, a positive and a negative kind of thing. Anyway, although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of immortal God for images of mortal man, birds, animals, and reptiles. So they're using gorillas, they're using birds, right? Feathers now, dinosaurs, reptiles. I like how reptiles is in there specifically, because that's dinosaurs. They're using these immortal man as apes, animals. They're using like the evolution. So this is their evolution. They exchanged the glory of immortal God, of a creation, of God's creation, for evolution. And this is written 2,000 years ago. Now, pagans do this all the time. They use animals and stuff in their idols. And evolution is just the same thing. It's the same exact freaking thing. Do you know that in the Hindus, they believe that you start off as a cockroach or whatever, and then you resurrect up into more and more creatures until you become man, and then you become Brahmin or whatever. That's how they that's the Hindu religion. They believe that's how you reincarnate. Evolution, paganism, same thing. Paganism, I've defined it because I'm so amazing. Paganism is paganism is a vague word, but we all kind of know. We all know it when we see it, just like porn. But paganism is I can save myself. What I do will save me. And I get to enter heaven. That's paganism. Islam has that. Having sacraments and having specific rules do that as well. I'm a Calvinist, so I am not. God has chosen to save me. I did not have any choice in the matter. I know it sounds kind of brutal and weird and creepy, but then if you think that sucks, that God decides who's saved and see, that's Calvinism. God decided who's good and who's wicked. If you think that sucks and you hate God for that, or you hate that idea, then maybe you're not saved. Although I'm trying to reach out to you that maybe you are. Check this out. What I do saves me. So I get to, excuse me, Paul, Peter, I get to enter these pearly gates. Can you move out of the way? I'm going to go ahead and walk in because of how good I am. That's that concept. The other concept is Calvinism is God. I am a sinner. I am a freak. I'm a dumbass, but he still knows who I am and thinks I'm worth going. He wants me to be eternally with him. What? Look at this face. I'm a dumbass. He really thinks I'm worthy to be an eternal. Wow. Because I know what I've done. I mean, he knows what I've done. Yet still, he wants me to come to him? That's Calvinism. Really? I'm really part of this cool kids club? Really? No way. No way. I'm kind of feeling joyful about this. You know? I didn't do anything about it. He's already calling me because I'm already really worthy to be in it. But now I feel responsible. I feel like, oh my gosh, really? I got a VIP card? Oh my gosh, I'm not worth it. I know I'm not worth it. He knows I know that I will believe this way or whatever, and he's already. I mean, I know you feel like, what kind of free will is that? There's no free will in the Bible. It doesn't say anything about free will. But I do feel like I have free will in the sense that, well, no, I guess I don't, because I can't play D&D anymore or Star Wars RPG. I still have them. I still kind of would like to at some point, but I just don't feel like it. Don't want to. I guess that's the free willish thing. I don't know about that. I just feel like I just want to serve the Lord kind of things. I don't know. I'm a slave to Christ, I guess. I've given up all of my potential of being successful as a YouTuber. I was doing like $3,000 Kickstarters, building up 80 to 100. I don't know how many it was, maybe 30, 40, but there was nothing contentious, nothing offensive. I could just keep going, keep building it up, keep working on whatever, but I gave it all up. Therefore, I mean, it wasn't that much, but therefore God gave them over in the desires of their hearts to impurify. Okay. Therefore, God gave them over in the desires of their hearts to impurify for the dishonoring of their bodies with one another. So I'm coming over now to the woke stuff. What's going on here? So here's an interesting thing. The creation part started in the 18th. This is like very sequential, and this is exactly how it happened in our culture. In the 18th century, 19th century, creation or evolution was happening under Darwin and some of the other ones. And in England, especially, all the white men, evolution created by white men, white European men, huge explosion of that happening. And that's what started all of this. After that, right, the sexual culture started in the 30s, in Weimar Republic. Before the Nazis, the Weimar Republic was a huge trans, gay, homosexual culture, and of course, then it collapsed into Nazism. But the desires of impurity to dishonoring their bodies with one another. I mean, it was huge. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who was forever worthy of praise. So they, like to go to the Weimar Republic and then the Third Reich, they worshipped the superior man, superior white man, superior. They believed in this evolution thing. Remember the whole Ubermensch, superior man, Ubermensch, is a Third Reich belief, and that was based off of Darwinian things. Okay, so they there's that, and then that continued on to the 60s and 70s, right? For this a little reprieve there after the war, but because of the victory of the Christians against the Nazism, Third Reich, and at least I think, a little revival there. For this reason, God gave them over to dishonorable passions. So that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing this culture. The 60s was a huge sexual culture. The 70s and the disco era, there was a Jesus revival, so that's cool. That there was that tangent. There was a safe family tangent, but then there was definitely a lustful culture of the 70s and 80s. And the porn industry was exploding, and the abortion started in the 60s, right? Early 60s started that whole crap. So the dishonorable passions was happening. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. So lesbianism and all that was happening. Homosexuality. Likewise, the men abandoned natural relations with women and burned with lust for one another. So this is all revitalizing. And again, not new under the sun. It's happened before. Men committed indecent acts with men and then received themselves the due penalty of their error. So we got HIV, and not just HIV. There's a ton of penalties for anal sex. There's a ton of issues there, but here they are, and promiscuity, and massive sexual promiscuity. So this is happening now, and it's being promoted. It's being promoted now to the point it's being promoted in middle schools. So this woke culture that we're fighting against is in this. Well, it's in the next stage actually, which I'm going to get to. But this was happening in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Slowly over time, and it's now turned into this final little chapter here or paragraph. Furthermore, since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, He gave them up to a depraved mind. He gave them up. So see, there's Calvinism right there. He gave them up. God's in control. Like, I don't care. I don't care what you think. God's in control. I don't care what you think, because He's already telling us what's going to happen. And to do what ought not to be done, right? They're doing what ought not to be done to their bodies, to their bodies. They became filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. So, do we see that? Do we see that now in the way they talk on social media, on X and on Blue Sky or whatever, and on YouTube? Wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent new forms of evil. They disobey their parents, right? They are senseless, faithless, heartless, merciless. So that's what you're wanting to go along and get along with? Compromise with? The solution is bring Jesus Christ to the forefront, strengthen your church, make sure your pastor is supported, strengthened, but also pushed to confront this, confront and rebuke evil, subdue evil, so that it will be less like this, and maybe have an okay life around you. You have to be so forward with your faith that the evil will step back, will be on its heels. If you're not going to bring in your Jesus Christ, they are going to be like this. Okay? And that's exactly what's going on, because you and I are not bringing Jesus Christ, the church, and our culture up front. We're backing it off to go along to get along. And you keep wondering why, when it's already been told to you why. And this is not me. I'm not smart. I'm looking at this and going, wow, hey, there it is. I guess the only smartness I have, the only smarty wisdom I have is just, I guess, not, my lenses are not dark and I can just see what's going on. They're going to keep doing this as long as you keep separation of church and game. As long as you separate the church from the game and they can bring in their own paganism, they're going to keep doing this. Down here where I've highlighted, this is what they are going to do, and they're not going to stop, no matter how much you want to reason with them, work with them, compromise with them. Doesn't matter. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent new forms of evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, merciless. And that's exactly the way they're going to be with all of the content that you've grown up with and endured and loved. DC, Marvel, Dungeons and Dragons. They're going to take it. They're full of envy. They're going to murder it. They're going to create strife within it. They're going to separate them out. Strife is separating them out and creating strife. Deceit, they're going to lie. And malice, their intent is going to be to control and power and deceit. Gossips, slanderers, they're going to slander. Slandering is one of the commandments. Thou shalt not slander, basically. Thou shalt not bear false witness. That's slander. Slander is to lie about someone to destroy them, like what they're doing with Gary Gygax. They're gonna grab everything they can about him and slander him. They're gonna do it in a nice, like they're insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They're gonna do that. They're gonna invent new forms of evil. They disobey their parents. In other words, you've seen all the TikToks about getting away from the parents. Here in California, parents don't have the right to their children anymore. As soon as a child says, I think I want to be a boy or girl, whatever, trans thing, the government gets to immediately attack and take that child away from their parents. And think about this. What if a social worker at the school decides to lie, slander, and say that the child said it, but is too afraid to say it now because of the parents? And whenever the child says, no, I don't know, and they're going to say, yeah, they're too afraid now, so we're just going to, so they can just take away. This is evil. The Democrats here in California are pure evil. And what is the Christian solution? Like I said, I'm going to say it again. Church, strengthen the church here in California. Get back to church. Rebuke the evil. Rebuke it over and over. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, merciless. And by the way, the Christian response is the only response that is not about vengeance and conquest and murder and killing. Ours is about evangelism, planting churches, rebuking evil, and then doing that over and over, and creating a culture where they and obviously in the past violence has occurred. So I'm not, so I love doing that for my role playing games. But in our approach today, we don't need to resort to violence unless they start killing us. If they start killing us, we might have to resort to a war, not violence, not genocide, not their genocide, not their terror, not their slavery, but a war where we have to declare, okay, we need you to stop killing us, and since you continue to kill us, we're going to have to go to war with you now. That has got to always be on the table for Christians because they fear that. That's why they call us warmongers and they accuse us of war and because they don't want us to go there. They want us to take that off the table. So if we take that off the table, they can now do their genocide and their terror and all that. So don't be ashamed of war, of declaring war, because war is actually a declaration of something. We don't just go and terrorize a community. We don't go and genocide a community. We don't go and enslave a community. That's what they do. What we do is we gotta declare war on you now because you're genociding, you're terrorizing, you're enslaving. So we're gonna have to stop you. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things are worthy of death, so they know of hell. They know of this is evil. They know what they're doing is evil. They just don't care. They not only continue to do these things, but also approve of those who practice them. They also approve. They applaud those who do evil. Like what's her name? The guy that assassinated the healthcare worker, and then all the liberals are applauding that. I understand the healthcare insurance thing needs to be reformed, and actually it needs to be deregulated. It's so regulated now. That's why the healthcare things are so powerful and permeating and then corrupt, but from the hospital and from the insurance agencies, and we're the victims of it. It's so regulated that there's only a few insurance agencies, and the Democrats know this and the Marxists know this, so they keep regulating it even more. We need to deregulate so that we can have different kinds of health insurance and open market and competition, which was we don't have. And if a company wants to cut you out early, cut you off with no reason, well, one, you should be able to sue them. But two, people should know, and that's that you don't go to that company. You only go to the ones that really are good. That's the way it should be working. Free market. It should not be this whole government intervention thing. I do think we need minimal government intervention. Like, don't lie. You can't lie. That's the government intervention. If you cannot bear false witness as a company, or lie about your policies, you can't lie about it. If they would have just enforced that, because then we could see what their policies are, and decide whether we give them money or not. But if they can get away with lying, then what do we don't have, we don't have a capitalist system. The government should only be there to enforce truth and criminalize lying. Enforce the contracts. Okay. So there it is, spelled out for you quite clearly what the woke is doing. And so in a sort of contentious sense, I don't understand the confusion here. I kind of know why, but I know why, but I'm telling you, it's not confusing. And the answer is very simple, but you won't do it. You won't accept it. Ergo, this is what you get, and you're going to keep feeding into it. You're going to give this power and keep building this up. Maybe that's what you want. maybe you want this continual cycle, and you're having fun with it in your own apprehensive and contentious way. But or maybe I am, but I am telling you the word from God. What's going on in the solution is the New Testament, by the way, is all about church evangelism and church planting. That's what it's all about. I mean, it's about teaching us to be disciples and to disciple, but it's all about evangelism and church planting. It's taught that all the letters are to different churches, and what's going on, and da da da. That's what the New Testament is all about. I mean, there's the gospel, and then Acts, which is about building churches, and then the explanations of the faith and of churches. The letters are talking about faith, but they're to the churches. Ergo, they're about teaching and building up the churches. So, yeah, I just want to make a video to explain what is going on, why it's going on, and it's going to keep going on if you and I are not bringing church and Jesus Christ to the forefront of everything that we do. Everything that we do, and I'm joyful in it. It's fun. It's not hard. If it's hard, there's a problem with you. I mean, it's hard for me in the sense of there's no market for what I'm doing, and I want it to be a business. And the reason I want it to be a business as opposed to a ministry is because the ministries are more regulated. That's why, literally. Here in California, there's so many more regulations to be a ministry because I wanted it to be a ministry. But I do want to get paid for it because paying me is encourages me and then gives me the time to do it. And, as opposed to just giving it out for free. I don't use anything personally. I don't use anything that I gotten for free. Like if I paid for it, I actually use it, and I've noticed that too. I'm going to go off here on a little interesting little thing. Back in the day, in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, when I was working in the computer game industry, I worked at Blizzard, I worked at Blur, and a lot of boutiques in between. Everyone was pirating the software, right? The 3ds Max, Photoshop, all these things. It was just this whole massive thing, and I even we give each other share copies of them on DVDs, and just have tons of stuff, right? And it was all pirated, all this downloading, BitTorrent, whatever. And of course, they all, and including myself, were downloading porn too. I don't masturbate to porn anymore, but back then, everybody, it was all of us were. But the pirating of all the software, and I noticed all these guys doing it, and I was looking around at all of them, and like they're all working for these companies or whatever, But I was like, none of them are doing it. None of them, including myself, are doing anything with this crap. Like for that we pirated, nothing. No one's making anything amazing. No one's doing anything. It was just lame. And I was kind of getting tired of it. And I realized, today I pay for my software and I love paying for it. I actually love paying for it because it's a value, and then it's a value. It's a real thing. It's a real thing to pay for something and then get it and use it. Like I'm not a thief. I want to use it. And I want to pay for it. And so it's I think that's a Christian thing. I don't know, because these guys kept pirating all this stuff, and I would, get their copies, but I wouldn't do anything with it. And I noticed the only thing I ever worked with that I really loved was the ones that I own this now, or I'm renting it, which is the case nowadays, but it's fine. And I believe in that, and it's important. So I'm living my life that way too. I believe that you should pay for what I'm doing for like this, my game and stuff. I mean, I want it to be a ministry, like a nonprofit thing, but there's so many regulations, and it's like scary. So I'm just going to go with simple business, because of all the freaking rules around here. Anyway, and again, if you've gotten this far, I really appreciate it. I have books on Amazon. Just look up my name, Ron Smorensky, or I'm gonna do a quick little video here, or page. I keep telling myself I gotta do this. I'm watching John Arroyo on YouTube, and he constantly does it with his, and I'm like, and I appreciate what he's doing, and yet here I am never doing it, and I'm like, man, I gotta. Okay, on Amazon here, I've got my books. I got my role-playing games here, and I got my Alfred, which is my main series. Let me find the first book. And I got Night of the Dead, which is a rated R zombie apocalypse here in Hollywood with a dude who has medieval armor. What do you know? Check it. Very Christian, by the way. That one, very hardcore. Four books. And here's my Alfred, which is my I guess the main book I'm doing. Very epic fantasy. It's adult actually. It's a kid book, but it's I really secretly wrote it for adults. Kind of in a sense. I love the cover and I love the artist, but I know it definitely is not for. There's not an appeal there for adults, but oh well, what can I do? But I still am stuck on it. So there's a series of 5. I'm gonna work on 6 once I finish my Kickstarter. I've started it, by the way, and I'm very happy because when I started on 6, which has been a while since I've written, it all came back to me like immediately. Immediately came back to me. And I've written like 20 chapters so far, but I stopped because I need to finish that Kickstarter. Focus, and I'm gonna get back on it because I'm almost done with the Kickstarter. But very epic battles. I want Lord of the Rings I love, but it just a lot of slow parts and the battles were very short. These are like I really stretched it out, put the action in there, and it's very sort of brutal, but for kids too, family friendly. PG-13, a little bit of rated R and maybe some of the violence, but not too bad. And honors the mother and the father. Lots of adult stories, lots of adult backstories and stories around Alfred. He deals with adults in the books, and he has an ongoing romance with Lorana. So there's that, child, happy, innocent romance that builds and buds up. So, but there's an adult romance in it too. So for women, I have young women say this is their favorite series, or one, and I've had young kids say this is their favorite book. My problem is I don't know how to market it. I'm not selling very many. I've sold, when I go to the homeschool convention, I sell pretty good, and I mean I kind of break even if that sells good, but I just don't know where to go and how to do it and how to market it. So I guess I got to remember to do it here on the website, even though I should do it at the beginning of the video, not at the end. I'll figure that out. Okay. Anyway, so that's it. Long video about this haul, but got to do it. Got to keep on. All right. I got to work on some stuff this morning, Saturday morning. I'm going to work on some stuff and then have a chill day. I'm going to do a little workout. Okay. All right. Game of life. Roll holy dice.